About News Talk 1330 WLBB, Carrollton.
Good Friday morning, everybody. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice Program. Our show brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. And again this morning, you can see us broadcasting live on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. You can already see who my guest is. You probably recall this week we've been talking to the Carroll County Commission Chairman candidates. We've had 4 of them, or this morning will be our 4th candidate. We'll have the 5th candidate next Friday. Mr. Daniel Fagan will be our guest next Friday, so we'll remind you about that program again next Friday. But this morning, candidate number 4, former District 4 Commissioner, Michelle Morgan.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for coming out this morning.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. Who's Michelle Morgan? Give me just the intro, the basics. Michelle Morgan, where she's from, where she's been, her husband, her dog.
Michelle Morgan came here in 1982 to get a degree in business from the West Georgia College, now the University of West Georgia. I chose here because I paid my way through school, and this was affordable education for me. And I stayed because I just love this community so much. And I married a homeboy, a company that's been here since 85 years. And I have 3 children, 2 at UGA, go dogs, and 11th grader, and of course, yes, the famous Caesar, the Greenbelt dog.
Mm-hmm. You've been Human Resources Manager for Morgan Oil Company, family business, locations here in West Georgia. You were elected in 2014 to serve on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners, representing the citizens of District 4, in case you did not know that. Well, not just why should people go out to vote for Michelle Morgan, but why are you running? Why is it important for you to, you've been commissioner for 5 years, 6 years. Why is it important to move over to the chairman's role?
Well, I think that I have the experience and I have the tool set to do this. When Marty left to work for Brian Kemp, we were on a great path, and I enjoyed the last 4 years. There's no secret. I have had a wonderful time serving our constituents, and I felt that it was time that I could move over and do a little bit more advanced work and delve into things better. I'm going to ask you some questions that I've received on Facebook after other shows this week, and ask you a lot of questions that we've asked the previous candidates. One of the questions we got was about nonprofits. How many nonprofits does Carroll County government make donations to, I guess, every year? And do you think, is that a role for Carroll County government? Should they be involved in that? Well, we make very few. One is Communities in School, who's changed their name to PASS. We do the reentry program, and these are programs that work hand in hand with government. If we are getting students to graduate from school, it takes them into a world where they are productive citizens. The other would be like with the reentry program, if we can help these men and women who have been in jail and can get out. I think it's a good way of getting people back to work.
So you're not against that? I mean, if
no, it's such a small amount of money, but to a nonprofit it is a large amount. And so to take that little bit of money would not really make a huge difference, but it makes a huge difference in the nonprofit world.
There was a new program that started last summer, I think Carroll County Connections, the bus transportation, and that received, as much support as it did, some negative feedback as well. And you're a big supporter of that.
I am, and in the recent information we've received, statistics, it really is working. The number one use is people getting to work. And if they're able to get to work, they're able to have a job, they're able to produce some income, and then turn around and be able to spend back in our community. Another use that's been very helpful is medical. And a lot of people don't realize that the doctors still have to pay their electric bills, their staff, whether a person shows up or not. And if we keep the patient, on track, then their health insurance doesn't grow and doesn't affect all of us too. So if somebody's on the track to getting well, it's a positive. And the third reason for this rural transit that really surprised most of us, we knew it would be a way for people to use, but we didn't know it would be like in the top 3, is education. We have a lot of people in Carroll County using the rural transit to get to classes at the University of West Georgia and at West Georgia Tech. And for someone to be able to further their education there again helps us in the workforce.
I guess we're closing in on a year, right? Was it June of last year, July of last year?
We started July 1st.
July 1st. Any kind of numbers coming out as far as if it's making a profit, if it's breaking even?
It costs $3 each way to ride it. So those numbers are done by Three Rivers, and we've not studied that exactly. I just know that we have not used over the amount. We have not gone over budget.
834, Michelle Morgan, one of 5 candidates for the Carroll County Commission Chairman race, and Election Day is June 18th for that, but you got 3 weeks of early voting prior to that. Again, she's one of 5 candidates. Questions or comments, feel free to call us this morning, 678-601-8255, 678-601-TALK, or, of course, you can post some questions and comments on the Facebook page, and I'll take a peek at those during our commercial break. In about 5 minutes. A question that I've brought before every candidate this week: transportation special purpose local option sales tax that was denied by voters last year. There is the opportunity to bring it back should a chairman be interested in doing so. As chairman, would you bring that back before voters?
I would probably not bring it back in the next 2 years. The regular SPLOST will renew, will come up for a ballot vote in 2 years. I don't think it's smart to have both of them on there. I will say that I learned from the T-SPLOST that government needs to do a better job of informing constituents instead of after the fact. And in the 4 years I've been on the board, I have done a newsletter quarterly to my constituents and those that have signed up for it. I've held an annual coffee and conversation, and I'm out in the public all the time trying to reach people and have conversations. So I think if I were chairman, I would do the things of communication, and I would do things a lot differently. I would be a little bit more out in front and letting the constituents know. I think that was an educational moment for all of us, and learning how to tell people about something. And they can still choose a no or a yes vote, but I felt like we did not quite educate as much and as long.
And you brought up the special purpose local option sales tax, which is separate than the T-SPLOST. A SPLOST purchase recently was 2 additional firehouses in the southern part of the county. Southern part of the county. I think at least one near Roopville. The candidates have discussed this several times this week as well. What was the strategy, getting those firehouses? I believe it was to save insurance. There's some big insurance concerns when some changes were made as far as how far houses and properties are away from the firehouses. But when those were built, how much discussion was to actually have a body in those houses? Because the understanding, and it could be wrong the way it's being discussed now. Several people saying there's nobody in there.
Well, you're right. When we first started building them, the first one was built pretty much when I first came on board, and the second one, it was based on insurance and based on GPS mapping, so that the people in the surrounding area still have the same fire service they had before we built the stations. But now, with new rules with insurance, their home insurance has gone down, their property insurance has gone down. Yes, as far as manning them, I believe periodically the fire chief does have someone in there. We have had discussions, and with the new fire chief, a plan is being put in place, and if I'm still on the board, I will work hard to follow that plan and to help develop a new one, because we do need to staff our fire stations better, and we need to pay better.
There are not positions in this year's budget, the proposal so far, but a chairman could put those in there.
They could, and yes, in this year's budget that we advertised, the fire chief did come before us back at our work session in February and gave us a plan very similar to how the sheriff has given us a 4-year plan. And in the 4 years I've been on there, we funded the first year. This year, if the budget is voted on by the board in August, it is in there to fund the sheriff's second year. And yes, the fire chief has been starting a plan with us also, and I would support all of those.
Michelle Morgan, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Derek Newton listens to our programs a lot, and I'm sure you're aware of his existence. He posed a question this week, and he's asked it before. He's asked to bring it up before, as far as diversity in hiring for Carroll County. Is that something that do you believe that's an issue? Is that something that there may be a plan in the works to be more diverse, or bring it to attention of department leaders?
Colin, I don't look at people by what color they are. When someone comes in to apply at Morgan Oil Company, I look to see if they can match our skill set. I think it goes back to enough diversity applying for jobs. But in all honesty, I don't look at color. I look at what someone has in a skill set and if they can do the job.
I think we have a caller. Is that right, Steve? We got a caller there on line 2. Let us grab this before we go to our break. Good morning. You're on the Community Voice.
Good morning. I have a question.
Okay, hit us.
Okay, Ms. Morgan, what is your stance or opinion on elected officials who propose votes that will help them or their families that could be detrimental to the county?
I would encourage you to say describe detrimental. I mean, because I think I know what
Well,
you're going at with, but I mean, just use the word detrimental. I mean, is that?
No, I think I can go ahead and answer this. I think he's referring to the alcohol vote that was put on the ballot, and yes,
That's correct.
my business
That's correct.
was able to could possibly profit from it, but we were one of 41. I will also say that in the recent service agreement that I have a station in Bremen, and I realized that in the service agreement between the cities that there were 119 pieces of property, one which happened to be our Bremen BP, that were paying double for fire service. In our property taxes, we were paying to the city of Bremen and we were paying to the county. So, yes, we were not the only store that could benefit from that, but I will also go back to the fact that the customer is ultimately the one that benefits if they can purchase what they want to purchase.
Do you need to follow up on that, sir?
So you think that the tax revenue that we get off of this vote will pay for the arrest and the police protection that we have to use in this case?
You know, I'll also say that the taxpayers voted for a lottery. A lottery funds many of our students here in Carroll County that go to college. And yes, there are disadvantages with the lottery too. So I believe that when you went to the polls, that the public was educated enough to decide how they wanted to do that.
Do you think that all similar votes should be before, make a decision as a chairman? I guess the chairman or council or commission did have the choice of whether to put that before county vote. Do you think all issues should be put before a vote? I mean, and again, not like a stop sign, to put up a stop sign or anything like that somewhere, but something to that magnitude.
Anything that the state or anything that people are allowed to vote on, especially with the T-SPLOST, that was another perfect example. I allowed the public to vote on that. We could have, as a board, decided not to offer a T-SPLOST, and I said, I'm going to let the people vote on the things that people are able to vote on, and I think they need to do the leadership and show up and let us know how they want things done.
Michelle Morgan is one of 5 candidates running for the Carroll County Chairman position. The election day is June the 18th, and you have 3 weeks of early voting, and we'll be talking about this race at least for the next month or so. It's 8:42 right now. While we're in this break, I'm going to check out the Facebook page, the News Talk 1330 Facebook page, see if we have any questions or comments on there, and we'll bring those back to you after this break. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330 FM 106.3.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org. or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice program. Our show brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. And this morning you can catch us on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. Our guest, as you can see, is Michelle Morgan, one of 5 candidates running for Carroll County Chairman. Leslie Smith McPherson has checked in with this question every day this week, and perhaps you have a different interpretation, a better education on it. Would you explain the floating homestead exemption? I believe voters approved it, or had the option statewide to decide if your county should be able to exercise that in the early 2000s or something like that. Can you explain it, and then how it impacts Carroll County government revenue?
Well, Leslie, it's really a question for the tax commissioner, and Colin, honestly, you could do a whole week on this exact subject. For the actual taxpayer, the property tax owner, it is a good thing. It exempts a part of your property taxes from being taxed by the county. As a county commissioner, it's not necessarily a good thing because it keeps your county general budget from growing. So that's the best way I can answer it. But I really feel like I am not equipped to give a great answer. I think your tax commissioner would be the best one.
Another question that we've asked commissioner candidates this week. This one coming from Sam Duke, who's posted it to our Facebook page. If all things should go out to bid, then why did commissioners propose to put that $750,000 or $715,000 tractor purchase to a bid instead of they bought it through a state bid?
Well, we used a practice that has been done since 2005. So just about every commissioner since 2005 has done the same particular bid. We knew that we wanted the John Deere. We had, to me, a very trusted employee who had already done the research. We currently have 4 John Deere tractors that were bought locally, and he felt these were the best ones. So we did a state bid, so we got the best price. Hindsight, should we start doing things all in an open bid? Probably should. It requires a little more work sometimes on the consumer, but they were bought locally. They were bought from a local business, and so yes, it has been a process that has been done. But going forward, I probably would say let's do everything on open bid because we've heard back from the public now on that.
As someone who has been a commissioner, we have things to look back on,
yes,
and challenge your votes or applaud your votes and things. Anything else over the last 6 years that you've been proud to have been a part of?
I have enjoyed tremendously. It's no secret about that. I've enjoyed meeting people. I'm very proud of the work I've done with the renovation of the Oak Mountain Gym. We took a building that was falling apart and looking really bad and having some vandalism done on it. So we're working on that. I'm very proud of the work I've done with the Ag Center. I drive by that Ag Center every single day, and the fact that it is the most used building in the entire county, that it needed a facelift. And if we are going to brag and be an agricultural community, that building should stand out the best of it. So I'm proud of those two things, and I'm proud of the support I've done for libraries. I know a lot of people think that libraries are not in use anymore, but with the digital world, but I beg to forgive on that you can still go into your local grocery store, your local clothing store, well, not clothing store, but like a Walmart, and you can still find hardback books. So for the general public, and especially those in the rural areas, they need our libraries for the Wi-Fi capabilities.
A lot of times when I ask these questions, I can pick something out of there and it lead me to another question or remind me of something else. You talked about the Ag Center improvement there. Right now in our SPLOST budget, for the current SPLOST, I believe there's some funding which is waiting to go towards an admin building, a new admin building. Do we need that?
I think we need at least to either renovate the current building that we're in.
Can you do that with the SPLOST money? Can you renovate?
Well, depending on if you tear it down or what exactly you do. But I don't. There again, that's more of a question for our county attorneys. But over the last 4 years, we have been discussing this at various work retreats, trying to decide where would be the best location to put it, if at all possible. Or is there a way to take the current building and go back on the same footprint we've had? I see some advantages to putting everyone kind of under one roof, but at the same time, is that really an expense that we need to be doing? But I do believe the current building that we're in is not conducive to the work that needs to be done. And a perfect example is with West Georgia Technical College. They're vacating that building and we'll be building a new one because it's really hard to go back and retrofit. Our Southside BP, that we've tried to retrofit it to update stuff, and with new technology, and you've got certain things, it's almost more expensive to renovate than it is to redo. And you'll see that with our universities. They're rebuilding dorms instead of trying to renovate them. So it's a conversation we've been having over the last 4 years, and I expect that we will probably be having it over the next year with the new board.
We'll take our final break here, and I'll take another peek at Facebook, see if there's any questions up there. Also, do you have any meet and greet events planned or anything coming up in the next week or so?
Right now, I am just out meeting the public at all the times like I've always been doing. I don't set a certain time, but I attend as many events as I possibly can. And when invited, I'm more than happy to come and answer questions and share what I've done.
We'll have about 10 minutes left of the program after we take this final break, and do encourage you to call up or put a message or comment or question on the Facebook page. Phone number here is 678-601-8255, 678-601-TALK. And, of course, the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, where you see the video of our show up there right now. You can post something in the comments section, and I'll take a peek at that right now. We'll be back in a minute. More Community Voice.
At Tanner, we're advancing health throughout West Georgia and East Alabama. Because we know that exceptional care isn't based on how many patients we serve, but how well we serve them. That's why we're focused on quality, delivering the best possible care for our patients. It's why we're expanding our clinical services and building new facilities to serve our growing community. And it's why we're looking beyond our hospitals and medical practices to develop sustainable wellness and preventive health programs in our region. What makes a hospital great has changed. It's not how many beds we have. It's how well we care for the neighbors who need them. Delivering the right care to every patient, every time, is how Tanner is advancing health with medicine beyond measure. Learn more at tanner.org or find a physician on our medical staff by calling 770-214-CARE.
All right, welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice Program. Our show brought to you by Tanner Health System, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3, and this morning streaming live on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. That's where you see video, and you can also listen to it online at newstalk1330.com, or you can just get audio. And when this program is complete this morning, you can go back if you missed anything. I see somebody actually posting that they did miss something about the T-Splost and Mitchell. We did talk about that, so perhaps you can go back and check that out. Later on this morning, newstalk1330.com, the audio will be posted. Scott, and I didn't say your last name yesterday because I was scared to mess it up, but I'm going to give it a try this morning. Scott Butcher. Well, I'm getting no response from Scott, but he's talking about firefighters. His statement today is firefighters are suffering in the county. 120 have left in the last 5 years. The average years of service has dropped from 12.8 years to 1.7 years. Just in the last 10 years. How do we keep trained firefighters happy and serving our community?
I would answer, Scott, I would say I would agree with you on all of that. I think it's a problem countywide on many things. I was at a luncheon Wednesday where the Labor Commissioner Mark Butler spoke and talked about the number of job openings currently in Carroll County. We've gone from people who don't have jobs to where we can't fill jobs at all. I know at Morgan Oil, it's taken us about 6 months to do it, and I did an algorithm for it. We decided that if we moved the minimum wage up to $9 and then moved the employees that were 9 up, that it would help retain employees. We have seen a better chance of that. So yes, I truly believe that we need to work with our current fire chief and work on a plan that will help us retain and move the pay scale up. It's not an easy thing to do, and you have to plan for it, but I've already done it within our personal company, so I understand the ramifications of the budget. So I think it's doable. It just needs to be planned.
I would say over the last 2 years, it feels like 4 or 5 people, local politicians, have left their jobs for another position or whether to move up to run for something else. And I've heard every time something like that's happened. I mean, people, they question that. And Linda McIntosh has posted this on our Facebook page as well. Why did you run for District 4? Why did you choose to run for District 4? I guess they don't like somebody leaving in the middle of the term and then it costing taxpayers money.
I understand
to have
that. I do.
I
ran for District 4 originally because I had gone to the Board of Commissioners, and it was my first experience. In our company, we're very active on the national and state level because of what we do with all the ramifications that are put on the oil business. And so I had to go before the Board of Commissioners, and I looked and I realized, I said, oh my gosh, who are these people? I got to learn about them and study about them, and I thought, I could do a good job. I could offer something to this board. In committee work, you usually pull a board together that has young, old, different backgrounds, and I felt that the Board of Commissioners needed my background with my education and work experience. So yes, I was very happy, enjoyed doing it. I ran again because it was a great experience, and I thought there were still things I can offer to this community. So when Marty did take the job, I felt like there again, I'm not leaving Carroll County. I have no intentions of ever running for a state office. I love staying here. I don't want to leave Carroll County, so this was a perfect fit for me to move up and offer even more skills that I have.
8:55, about 5 minutes left in the program right now. I want to mention Stephen Stapleton, who just posted something while I'm sure he's listening at this point, asking, do you have a campaign Facebook page where we can learn more about your plans for the future? And then I guess after that, we'll say, hey, what What are some of your plans for the future?
I do. It's votemichellemorgan.com, and it's Michelle with 2 L's is my website that you can read about me and see what all experience I've had.
And it's a well put together biography.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I do have a Facebook page. There's my personal page is Michelle F. Morgan, but I also have Michelle Morgan, and I have a Twitter page. So you can follow me and see where I've been and where I'm going. And I'm happy. You can phone call me or you can email me. And I love to talk to people, and I'd love to give you answers and delve into it more than we have in this 30 minutes.
One of the issues that candidates have brought up this week, or we've ended up talking about the future of Carroll County. Rural heritage is something that we've heard about 52 times this week as well. Is that just as important to you as everybody else pledges that it is to them, and how do you maintain that if it is?
Well, it is because, number one, the reason I stayed here was because I think we have a beautiful area. I could have left with my degree and gone to Atlanta or gone to another city, but I wanted to stay here in Carroll County because I think we have a lot of beautiful things to offer. And yes, the rural heritage is important to me because Morgan Oil not only does their convenience stores, we have a tank wagon business, and we service over 50 farm accounts in the entire West Georgia area. So yes, it's important to me visually, and it's important to me financially. So and we've got something good going here. We've got cattle farms and we have poultry farms, and I think we don't mess with that. And I served on the comp plan for the last year. I studied it, I read every bit of it, and I think we designed, in working with the Water Authority and working with the county school system and the chamber, how we need to grow and get jobs that we can provide a bigger tax base without taking away from that heritage that we have.
The chairman also is the head of the agenda. The biggest thing they probably work on all year is the chairman. They also they work on the budget. I'm sorry. Yeah. Also ahead of the agenda, what items are going to go on the agenda for other commissioners to vote on. Is there any current issues that maybe in the first year and a half, or the last year and a half of this term actually, that we could expect, or things that you've thought about maybe that need to be put on that agenda?
Something we've been talking about for the last 2 years, and we need to quit talking about for 2 years and do something about it, is we do need to do a better job with our ordinances, because we are a county. People want to come here. People want to enjoy the lifestyle that all of us have had. And we've got to be very careful on how we do that. And I think if we write our ordinances better, we can have a look that we want to have.
Coming up on 9 o'clock right now, a lot of people are just pulling up to their business and getting ready to go in. Maybe this is the first time they're getting to hear this message. What do you, as we leave here, what do you want them to know about Michelle Morgan? Why should they support you in this race?
I think they should support me because I do have the skill set. If you were interviewing someone for a job, you would not do it on popularity. You would not do it just because they're your friend. You would look at their resume and you would see what have they done, what do they do, and everything I say I have already been doing. It's not something I would just start out of the bat. So you can look and see that I have been doing what I say I'm going to do.
Well, I do encourage everybody to check out our Facebook page. Also, check out our website. And you mentioned they can call you. They may have questions they didn't feel comfortable putting on Facebook or calling. Sometimes people would rather.
I welcome it. I love talking to people.
So, but your phone number, is that on the website? Is that?
It is, and I'm happy to say 770-403-2398.
Well, this concludes our week of talking to candidates for Carroll County Commission Chairman. Although we're going to have an extension next Friday. Daniel, can't remember his last name right now. Do you remember his last name? Fagan. Sorry, Daniel Fagan. He'll be on the program next Friday. The show will start at 8:30, but we've had 4 guests so far this week, and each of those interviews is available on our website at newstalk1330.com, and you can also see them on the Newstalk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. Hope we did a good job this week getting your questions out to these guys, because it was more important to me to hear what you guys were asking. Although the issues that we brought up that have happened over the last year or two as well. So I hope you got a lot of information out of this week. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Community Voice, as always, brought to you by Tanner Health System here on News Talk 1330 and FM 106.3.